The Labyrinth is a supplement for the RPG Delta Green, published in 2019 by Arc Dream and written by John Scott Tynes. It contains 7 sections that each detail an organization, society, or group of people, as well as one section that details a single intelligence agent. Each of these sections also contains relevant NPCs and ways to integrate the organization and NPCs into your larger Delta Green plot, whatever that may be. I have to confess something here. The foreword, written by Mike Merles of Dungeons & Dragons fame, describes a supplement that is almost automatically good because of its author, but then it praises the book in almost hyperbolic terms. This left me extremely skeptical going in, but by the time I was halfway through, I was in agreement with Mr. Merles. I pretty much had a smile the whole time I was reading this one. It's not a perfect game supplement, and I have a few issues with it that I'll share at the end of this video, but I'll present each of the 8 sections here with an absolute minimum of spoilers. Note that each of these modules gets more and more dangerous for your agents, as presented in the order of this book. The Center for the Missing Child. This is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to helping law enforcement enhance their search for missing and exploited children. It's got a staff of 400 and a budget of $40 million with offices in 4 major cities across the US. In any operation where you have a missing child, you can insert the CMC into their investigation. There are 3 CMC personnel: an investigator, a forensic scientist, and a data analyst. One of these NPCs has an extremely haunted past and could end up doing more harm than good for your agents, which is kind of what you want. Danger to your agents is relatively low. The Dream Syndicate. There's a group online who all appear to share the same set of dreams, snippets of tragedies from the recent past flashing in identical snippets. The core membership of this online group is under 300 people, and there are just 2 volunteer moderators. They have no budget and do not meet up in person. As with the Center for the Missing Child, the Dream Syndicate contains NPCs with investigative skill sets that could greatly help your agents. Furthermore, the dreams that the members share could easily be connected to events or imagery in your operations, or your agents could actually be sharing some of those dreams as well. There are 2 NPCs here, and it is up to your agents whether they can afford to trust them. The danger to your agents here is medium-low. Agent Rinko. Agent Rinko is a member of Russia's Delta Green called SV8. Or is he a double agent? Or perhaps a triple agent? You get to insert him into any operation at almost any time, and when he bursts very deliberately into your agent's operation at the worst possible time, he has some very serious trouble following right behind him. But he can also help in ways that your agent might desperately need. Only Agent Rinko is described here, but it's worth noting that in this section, it describes Russia's SV8 in great detail. As a handler, it's always good to have some details of a rival to Delta Green. The danger to your agents here is medium-high. As mentioned, Agent Rinko is being hounded by some very serious problems. The Witness Alliance. A national nonprofit that tracks, documents, and reports the activities of organized hate groups. They have 1 office, a staff of 85, and an annual budget of $18 million. Naturally, this is another organization that can offer help to your agents in an investigation, especially if they are investigating a hate group or need to look like they are investigating a hate group. There are 4 NPCs here, and this is where the book starts getting deep with the NPCs. Each of the characters is well described and connected to each other to some degree. Sometimes the connection between the NPCs is actually more important than the details of the organization that they're members of. In fact, the author stresses that the NPCs are the main conduit for the narrative in Delta Green. Whether you agree with that or not, that is how this book is generally presented. The danger to your agents here is medium-low. New Life Fertility. This is a very secretive and privately held company that has helped hundreds of ultra-elite families with fertility treatments. Their success rate is almost 100%, and they headquarter on a super yacht that sails all over the globe. As secretive as this organization is, your agents might discover that some of the offspring of these fertility miracles are just not right, or they might follow up on some epidemic of murders amongst the rich. There are 8 or so NPCs detailed in this one, and just on a personal note, I give this plotline a gold star. Due to the ultra creepy and frankly chilling ultimate truth, its avenues of danger for the agents Its exotic locales and just relentlessly delicious details just stands out as the most exemplary of the 8 in this book. The danger to your agents is high. It's very high. The lonely. Everywhere in the world there are lonely people, desperately lonely, but some of them have been touched by something strange, and their loneliness spreads, causing strange occurrences around them, and every so often, one of them snaps. When the lonely go from grim to furious, violence may occur in ways that attract the attention of your agents, or maybe they are drawn in by the supernatural occurrences. 6 examples of the lonely are laid out, 2 from each level of severity. The danger to your agents is medium-high. The sowers. In Gary, Indiana, and across small-town America, a modest Christian movement has begun to pop up. Its members all lead productive, successful lives growing crops and keeping to themselves for the most part. But only the men. Their wives are a different story, seeming drained of life and unable to have children. Agents may follow up on disappearances of former members or murders in a small community that are not being properly investigated. 8 NPCs are just one part of this very well-realized story scenario, in which there is a central figure connected to a thoroughly described dark truth about the Christian cult. The danger to your agents is high. The Prana Sodality. In a rural pocket of Washington State is a little society of alternative medicine energy healers. They are based outside of a town that has seen decades of pollution, ranging from a nuclear reactor to a military test facility to a smelting operation. Many of the people are sick and getting sicker, while some are impossibly healthy. The public health situation in the small town goes way beyond people getting sick. There is a crime epidemic, and in a way it would seem that civilization is coming apart at the seams there. There are 7 NPCs here, and some of them are vitally important to the story. On a negative note, I found the history of the area in terms of all the bad deeds and the pollution and everything to run quite a bit long, making this the hardest section to read in the book. However, the finale sequence, in terms of sheer drama, danger, and action, is one of the very best in the book. The danger to your agents is very high. So here are my cons and pros of The Labyrinth. It can get very complicated. That's more of a knock on the game Delta Green than anything. As a GM or handler, you're responsible for weaving a web of intrigue that teases the supernatural in a gradual fashion to your agents. This book gives you more than enough details to use, but you still need to spend a lot of time sorting everything out. And lack of portraits. Although the book has a lot of great art and is well laid out, the NPCs are a vitally important component of each story module, and you don't get a headshot or any portraits of them. Those would have been nice to show to your players to really bring home the story. As for the pros of this book, here are mine. It's well written. If you're going to read through 180 pages of a supplement for some campaign ideas, hopefully it's actually fun to read. The foreword by Mike Merles praising the mere fact that John Scott Tynes wrote the book was not unfounded, it turns out. He's a good writer, and the book is well structured and laid out too. New life fertility. Out of the 8 sections in this book, the concept and story environment of new life fertility is an instant classic to me. It horrified me in a way that the best Lovecraft stories do, doing a sort of meta trick by making me question my own reality for a split second. And it also contains one of the most disgusting birth descriptions I've ever read. So there you have it, The Labyrinth. Your agents will never resolve all of these cases, but by dying or going insane trying, you could bring a lot of fun and joy to your table. As always, thanks for watching. This is Dave signing off. See ya.